You know, there's some serious subjects here in the video online world. Various, let's see, what did my thing say? Oh yeah, will it make TV redundant? Or will... You know what, you guys don't know this. Sometimes you write a joke and then you look back, you're like, I don't get it anymore. Okay, will online make TV redundant, or will it go the way of a Times Square peep show? Is the mic on? Is the mic on? And to talk about this and moderate a debate about this very subject, please welcome Tim Shea.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tim Shea. I'm one of the co-founders of Next New Networks, and I'm here to moderate a little debate tonight. Basically, my company is a company that's one of the first media companies to scale on the internet. We're about to pass 1 billion views this month. You might know us as the company behind Obama Girl, Barely Political, Indie Mogul, Threadbanger, The Key of Awesome, lots more. We also have created great hit branded series with brands like American Express, Samsung, and lots more. But the question that's near and dear to my heart, and probably a lot of yours here, is, you know, how are we going to create a business of scale to rival that of traditional media? What is really the future of online video? And so here with me, I've got two very distinguished guests with opinions on the matter. We'll take our seats. We've got Brian Sugar from Sugar Inc., which is a leading women's international lifestyle brand and distribution network of properties. And we've got Matt Weisloff from Broadband Enterprises, which is probably the leading video network in the world right now. So we're going to let them both talk. I'll sort of start things off, and we'll see where this goes. And we're good, under a minute. There we go. So first question. What I'd like to do is sort of pose a question to both of you. We'll start maybe with you. And the question is really, what do you see as a really scalable business in video? Can online video be a scalable business? And you know, what's your approach to making that happen? Start with you.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say we're proud to be the distributor for Jen and Barb Mom Life, the new Webby Award-winning reality and talk series. So thrilled about that. Scale. I mean, that's what we set off to do, and the early visions was not unlike King World. If you're familiar with Roger and Michael King's syndication company, you know, they set off to set up a syndication model in television, and what they had brought to television before they made the phenomenon that is Oprah Winfrey. They were distributing shows like Little Rascals. You might not know that, but ultimately they built a model on the back of some of those programs that weren't nearly as popular. They formed and strengthened that syndication model, and obviously the net results was creating some of the biggest personalities in the world. We have done that. We've achieved that in online video. And so when we sit alongside the major broadcast networks today and the major television studios, we can talk about some of the early successes that we're having bringing programs to scale.
Great. So Brian, how does online video work in your business, and how are you bringing it to scale and profitability?
Sure, thank you. So I'm Brian Sugar, CEO of Sugar Inc., and we have a bunch of different businesses that really run off our editorial business. So my wife started blogging when she was a media planner, and she created Pop Sugar, and from that we launched about a dozen sugar sites, one for fashion, one for beauty, one for home, et cetera, and we have about 16 sites that are up and running. It was clear that we quickly had to add video to that, so we now we just started doing video about 9 months ago. We do 150 episodes a month across 4 channels, and that's doing really well. But the problem that we have is the business model of advertising as a small media company really doesn't scale. You don't become a multi-billion-dollar company like traditional media companies. So we took a real hard look at what we had and the assets that we had, and how do we actually innovate on the business model. So we looked at our audience, which is about 16 million monthly uniques, and we said, wow, this is a really large audience. And we said, who out there can actually afford to buy banner ads and pre-roll on our sites, and what kind of business are they in that they could do that? Because there's no way I would ever buy banner ads or video ads on other sites to drive traffic to my own because I can't make that much money on it. So we looked at a variety of different models, and one thing we landed on was commerce. So we bought a company a couple of years ago called ShopStyle, which is basically Google for fashion. And we essentially want to own the link economy to all fashion and beauty retailers and get a cut of all the traffic that is actually flowing from whether Fab Sugar's talking about it, or Bella, or Fashionology, or Pop Sugar. Every one of those links that gets off to the retailer, we actually can monetize, and we monetize it really, really well. Other business models that we've gotten into, and these are all around just crazy innovations that have happened over the past 18 months or 24 years, and there's been no innovation on the advertising side, but all these other things are happening. One of the things we did was we bought a company, yesterday it was announced, a company called Fresh Guide, so that we can get into the local city guide and exclusive offer market. So again, the idea as a media company for us is you build an insanely addictive audience that comes to consume your media, but you don't make the tons of money off of the advertising. The advertising essentially pays for the creation of that content. Then you start building serious businesses on top of that, whether it be commerce or local offers. The next thing that we're launching next month is a social game, which is called Pop Sugar's Retail Therapy, which will be able to buy all these virtual goods from all the brands that work with us through ShopStyle, whether it be Topshop or Gap, Banana Republic, etc. What we've learned is with 16 million uniques and almost 200 million page views a month and growing pretty rapidly, we just can't grow a multi-$100 million business from display advertising alone. We look at audience creation and advertising as a marketing line item expense to all the other super efficient business models that we do. To put it in perspective, for every 1,000 pages that we serve, for whether it be video or content, we can make about $15. For ShopStyle, we make about $65. So there's a huge difference. So if I had 1,000 pages, I would rather send them over to ShopStyle than to Pop Sugar because of the amount of money that we can make from that. Now, Pop Sugar and all the other sites that we have is the engine that makes everything else work. Because if we look at all of our competitors in the other places, they have to spend a buttload of money buying advertising on sites like mine so they can drive it to their commerce sites or their local offer sites or etc. So for us, the big innovation around advertising is use advertising to pay for the content creation, and then with that audience, create much bigger and more innovative business models.
So Matt, he's basically saying you can't build $1 billion business on advertising alone. And what do you think of that? And the media companies that you're working with, do you think they can get up to scale by working with video networks like yours?
I think there's going to be a lot of ways in which to see success, and I'm sure that Brian is going to build what you're seeking to build in that way. I think the good news for this room is advertising is going to get us where we want to go. And if you think about what brought us here today, Digitas is the means to which we're sitting here together today, and they're the ones who bring the dough. So thank you very much, Digitas, for getting us together and really moving the conversation along. But what I get excited about is when I spend my time with Gary Grunberg and Mark Stewart and the folks at Kraft who are looking at this moment in time during the upfront season and asking us what we can do to really move the needle in video. And they're not just looking at TV as TV, they're looking at TV as video. They want to see and figure out how to make that model work across all content. And that, I think, is the spirit of this day. And the good news is, folks like Kraft and folks like the great clients that are sitting here have a ton of energy to do it. I think a multi-billion-dollar business is in front of us.
Right. Well, but from my point of view as a producer, right, I hear what Brian's saying. And I've got a 50 million page views a month on our video network, and he's telling me I can make $65 per 1,000 views by doing e-commerce and building a commerce engine. And we know the CPMs right now on online video aren't that high. So how are we going to get there? How are we going to make? First off, do you think that's reasonable, what he's saying, or do you think there's a way that we can get the prices up in a way that we can really create great online video content that rivals that of television?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a lot of heavy lifting. The last couple of years, as we've tipped into recession, I think we've all had to kind of figure out some of the things that are less sexy the systems, the plumbing, if you will. One of the things that TV enjoys that we have not enjoyed is a posting, a measurement system, a consistent metric. It's hard for the greatest talent and producers in Hollywood to put real investment in this space when they really don't know what the metrics of success are. When you put a show on TV, you know the next morning if it was successful or not. These are the things that we have to confront. I know we're addressing and a lot of advancements been made, but once we overcome some of those hurdles, and we are, it's going to be great for all of us.
So I totally agree with all that, and I think it's been a lot of hard work on the advertising side, and just the biggest innovation we have are the text links on the side of Google, and I'm looking forward to the next big, whatever the new shiny object's going to be for ad planners, whether it's location, Twitter, video, but it just seems like every 6 months we're coming back to media planners like, no, this is the new thing that we need to advertise on. I think the interesting thing for us is the relation that we have is one of the greatest content companies on earth, in my eyes, is Disney. And if you actually look at where Disney makes a lot of their money, they use their content engine, their Mickey Mouse, their now Marvel, all their different content that they create. And the majority of the money that they make is whether from theme parks or merchandising or books or et cetera. It's extending the content brand into real money-making environments. I think the advertising can be used to run a nice, profitable business so the content can make it on its own, but to be Disney-sized from a media perspective or any of the other great companies, you start to see that they have these other diversifications of revenue streams, and they use the audience that they've created as their advantage to their other competitors.
So when either of you are working with an advertiser, I'll let you start and maybe you go in. When they're looking, what do you think that an advertiser should be looking to get when they're advertising with your network or working with you on a video project or working with you? Should they be thinking about ROI and directly driving to sales, or is there still a place for brand awareness and brand advertising online?
So I think that there's kind of three different classes of advertisers. I think there's the intrusion-based advertisers. They're kind of entertainment companies, Apple, Sony, et cetera. They don't really care about our brands. They just kind of want to have the ad push our content out of the way, and they want to show off their ads, and we do really well with them. I think the second group of advertisers are the packaged goods guys, a lot of the people out of Chicago. I think they tend to want to be integrated into the community. They want to do sponsored by, and they want to do free samples and a whole host of stuff that we do there, and we do really well with that. I think both of those classes of advertisers can do the brand advertising, and we are doing that. The third advertiser, which is kind of the hardest one, the one that spends a ton of money in magazines right now are, the fashion brands and the retailers. And they are so ROI focused. They're like, if we're going to spend $15, we better get that equivalent in whatever we did on the other side. So I think a good portion of it will be brand advertisers, but I think there are some analytical people at these advertisers that understand how much it costs to buy SEM on Google and all of that, and it's a shame that we make it so damn measurable because they know exactly what happens all the time, where it's like you ask somebody TV, hey, how'd your TV commercial go? Oh, I think it looked great. Yeah, it was good. But it's like, hey, you ran this campaign on Pop Sugar. It's like, well, it only got a 0.032% click-through rate, and it's like we have the worst click-through rates in the industry because I think our content is really good. I don't think people want to...
So Matt, what do you think, by measuring so much, we're ruining some of the magic of advertising?
I think, and I'm going to second you on that, Brian, sometimes we in this industry could be a little too cute, a little too smart for ourselves, and I think if we can get a little bit away from that, getting too myopic. What I take encouragement from were some of the conversations we had last night with Jen and Barb and some of the clientele here. We're listening from a content perspective. We're listening to your marketing objectives. Show me a broadcast network that's sitting down with your brand to understand what your true marketing objectives are. That is not happening. The next generation of content, the formation of the content, all the energy in this room is going to come from content producers like the ones you're sitting alongside right now, listening to what your objectives are and making that come true in the programming. That is exactly where this is all heading, and that is brand dollars.
Okay, we got 90 seconds left, so I'm going to ask you guys just one quick question. Maybe you can try to answer as quickly as possible. To everybody in the rooms out here, how much of their TV budget should they shift to online video?
10%.
Over how long?
That's what we should be. That's our goal. That should be our goal today.
For what, next year? Next 10 years?
For this upfront going forward, 10%.
10%. What do you think?
So I think that'd be great. I think $12 billion moving into video online advertising would be incredible. So I'd like that too.
Okay, great. So
You wanted a multi-billion-dollar business, Brian.
you guys heard it here first. That's what's going to make it happen, and we're hoping you guys will all come talk to us, and we'll try to make it work for you. And so closing statements. We got a little more time. Anything else the room needs to know?
No, I think we all know, and we can all make the case for why 10% we're due. It's our time. We're coming off a couple of tough years. TV has enjoyed a tremendous run. It's not over for them, but it's our time. This is our time, and I think if we could put the bar high and shoot for it, we have a lot of running room to go. I'm looking forward to that.
Brian, any closing remarks for the room?
No, I think I spoke enough.
All right, good. Well, then we're ahead of schedule. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I heard closing statements. I thought there was going to be like a whole, legal thing or